On a sunny September day in the year 1970, three young people took off in a balloon from Springs, New York, with the intention of flying it across the Atlantic Ocean. This was something that had never been done before, though many had tried. The balloon, inflated with 73,000 cubic feet of helium and standing more than 7 stories tall, was called the Free Life. The young people aboard were Rod Anderson, Pamela Brown, and Malcolm Brighton. Rod and Pamela were husband and wife, and the Free Life was their project. For them, the late summer launch was the culmination of 4 years of planning and hard work. Curiously, neither Rod nor Pam had ever been up in a balloon before. Malcolm Brighton was an accomplished professional balloonist from England who had joined the project late, attracted by the tantalizing prospect of piloting the first successful crossing of the Atlantic in a balloon. Examining the Free Life in person, Malcolm could see that some corners had been cut to save money and time in what had always been a shoestring operation. And yet, curiously, Malcolm agreed to attempt to fly the Free Life farther than any balloon had ever flown before over an unbroken expanse of ocean. Granted, state-of-the-art meteorology supplied on the launch day by NYU faculty was encouraging, but this came with a caveat, understood by all, that September is typically when the tropical storm season over the North Atlantic begins. A large crowd of cheering friends, helpers, and spectators was gathered in Springs on Sid Miller's horse pasture with its flat, unobstructed access to Gardner's Bay. Champagne was popped as the Free Life caught the wind and the ballast was jettisoned from the gondola. This was the last anyone on Earth would see of Rod, Pamela, or Malcolm. What were they thinking? What lay behind this unlikely choice? A rage for something different? Something real?
All along this ruined land, trains rumble underground. Above the dark and hollow streets, planes make a deafening sound. Day and night, nowhere goes, with escaping sirens blare. Surrendered all our peace of mind and no one seems to care. Where's the free life? Where's the free life? Money-loving maniacs, we crowd the trading floor. Somehow every dollar bill
The free life had started as Rod's idea. Rod was an energetic and ambitious man. He did not see himself settling for the ordinary life, but despite his driven nature, by the time he got to college, he had been forced to abandon a long-cherished dream of becoming a professional concert pianist. A subsequent attempt at an acting career had borne some fruit, but he struggled financially. When Rod met and fell in love with the actress Pamela Brown, the adventurous daughter of John Young Brown, a self-made Kentucky lawyer and politician, Rod's ambitious spirit was further prodded by his need to feel worthy of her and her family. After all, Pam's older brother John had already gained fame and fortune after convincing Colonel Sanders himself to let him franchise his secret fried chicken recipe. How was Rod going to compete with Kentucky Fried Chicken? Then one day, a colleague mentioned to Rod that nobody had ever successfully crossed the Atlantic Ocean in a balloon. Rod took this as a challenge.
1, 2, 3, 4. Any unlucky chicken from Kentucky can wind up in the batter on a plastic platter, thinner or fatter, just doesn't matter. Any piece of cattle from Boston to Seattle can wind up on your plate. Prime or chuck steak, when they reach the sell date, they all mean the same thing. Well, you wanna grow old, get your body and soul, don't need no inspiration. Fill out an application, join administration, take a paid vacation. You wanna be a big man, gotta understand how to capture the media. Where everyone will see you, people gonna read you in the encyclopedia. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean. For all the ones that you ever do, they didn't want to pay attention to you. But you didn't never see through what no one else can. For all the ones that you ever do, they didn't want to pay attention to you. Everyone should pay attention to you. Satisfaction. Be a man of action. Start a transaction. Get a reaction. You ain't getting no younger if you wait any longer. You'll be pushing 40. No guts, no glory. When you tell every story, write your own story. The contact to the north and the south. For all the ones that you want to do. Change your time, big outer space and food. Some are gonna walk on the moon. For all the ones that you ever do, baby, want to pay attention to you. That we should pay attention to you. That we should pay attention to you. That we should pay attention to you.
When Rod first explained his ballooning ambition to Pam, she thought it was the craziest thing she had ever heard. But Pam was a daredevil at heart. As a teenager, she had seriously entertained the idea of undertaking a raft trip down the Kentucky River to the Mississippi and on to New Orleans. She enlisted her best friend Genie Chips in the plan and convinced a boyfriend to build the raft. So it didn't take long for Pam to become as enthusiastic about the balloon idea as Rod was himself. And, unlike Rod, Pam had a well-off father in Kentucky who was a soft touch when it came to bankrolling the enthusiasms of his favorite daughter. Pam could bring Rod's dreams to life.
I worship the ground that Pamela Brown has walked on and filled with her grace. The flowers delight to bask in the light that shines from the smile on her face. She makes my heart pound, does Pamela Brown, when she plays upon the flute and the lyre. Her fingers work the strings like an angel she sings, with a voice that sets my soul on fire. Her eyes hypnotize me, her lips are like strawberry wine. So spread it around, Pamela Brown has promised to always be mine. It's true, I have found that Pamela Brown is a queen with a castle in Kentucky, with money that's old and a room full of gold. She says she'll take me there if I'm lucky. We will go down, me and Pamela Brown, to her father, our true love confessing. In a white suit he'll stand, glass of bourbon in hand, and cheerfully offer his blessing. He knows I love her, he knows I will always be true, and I won't let him down, 'cause Pamela Brown has promised to answer I do. A white wedding gown for Pamela Brown, a party with music and laughter. Keep her own name, she'll still look the same, but she will be mine ever after. When for life we are bound, me and Pamela Brown, the skies they will always be sunny. We'll move to the springs, do impossible things, as long as that keeps sending money. And oh, I love her, I will let go of her never. So spread it around, tell the whole town I won't let her down, 'cause Pamela Brown has promised to love me, promised to love me, promised to love me forever.
What neither Rod nor Pam knew, and in their ignorance, how could they have known, is that ballooning is a lot more complicated than it looks from the ground. On top of the logistical nightmares, ballooning is also incredibly expensive. Every balloon is custom designed and made to order. The helium that was pumped into the Free Life to give it lift cost $6,000 every time the balloon was inflated. That would be $47,000 in 2023. Soon, Pamela and Rod were referring to the project as the monster in the backyard, a source of endless worry and work from which they were powerless to escape. Pam's father was generous, but he had his limits. Yet every dollar spent on it deepened their obligation to continue feeding the monster.
There's a monster in the yard, and he won't let me sleep. Instead, every night in my room he creeps. I wish he'd cut it out, but now I'm in way too deep with the monster. The monster in the yard, first he plies me with dope. He takes both my hands and he ties them with rope. I used to try and fight it, but now I've given up hope with the monster. 'Cause all the night long he sings me sweet songs, and oh, I feel I belong with the monster in the yard. There's a monster in the yard, and he won't go away. We may go hungry, but he eats every day. We try to talk reason, but what can you say to a monster? There's a monster in the yard, and all day there's no peace. The work's never done, the demands never cease. But what can we do? You can't call the police on a monster. And then all through the night he shows me the light, and in the end I know I am right for the monster in the yard.
He throws me high up into the sky, has me thinking that I can fly, shows me visions that make me cry for joy. But when it's time to come down again, that's when the dread and the fear begin. What if the monster should let me fall? What if the monster's not there at all?
There's a monster in the yard, and I guess I'm to blame. I wanted the challenge, I looked for the fame, but I learned the hard way there just ain't no taming a monster. And as night follows day, he shows me the way, and in the end I know I will stay with the monster in the yard.
By the fall of 1969, Rod and Pam had been feeding their monster for 3 years, and despite a failed initial test flight of the free life over land, Rod and Pam felt an urgency to attempt the Atlantic crossing as soon as possible, foregoing any further time-consuming trial runs that they could not afford. They had already sold most of their furniture. So Rod began the search for an ideal spot from which to take off on a transatlantic balloon expedition. He soon fixed on eastern Long Island, and specifically on the village of Springs. Springs was the home of the Bonnickers. In 1969, this proud, distinctive community of fishermen and farmers maintained old-fashioned ways that stood in stark contrast to the refinements and glamour found in East Hampton, the neighboring resort town. Rod was first drawn to Springs because it is pancake flat, and at that time there were still farmers' fields that backed right up to Gardner's Bay, the Bonnickers' ancestral waters. Springs was ideal for launching a balloon over the Atlantic. Perhaps unexpectedly, the Bonnickers were likewise drawn to the free life. at first through the enthusiasm that Mom Vandewater instantly developed for the project. Mom, an 8th-generation Bonneker, ran a restaurant on Newtown Lane, and Rod happened to drop into Mom's restaurant for lunch and some advice. Before Rod was finished eating, Mom had already offered him her Springs rental cottage free of charge, and was busy working the phone to get other Bonnekers on board. Sure, George Sid Miller will let the Free Life take off from his horse pasture. Sure, Dorothy and Clarence Barnes will provide free food from their store. Yes. Forget all your summer people up street and your Grummans and your Cape Canaverals, bub. The Free Life is going to be a Bonneker-style moonshot right off of Fireplace Road.
My daddy was a babyman right here in Springs on Fireplace Road. Never had much school, but he knew a few things on Fireplace Road. Never had much business up across the tracks with the highfalutin and the Cadillacs. Just sold his catch and he came right back on Fireplace Road. Rake enough clams and you got it made on Fireplace Road. Or do the dirty work for the carriage trade on Fireplace Road. 'Cause all of us got a few mouths to feed. 3 meals a day, never guaranteed. But don't ask for much, you get what you need on Fireplace Road. And when the sun comes up on a brand new day, and you see them boats out on Gardiner's Bay, what you see is a part of a long tradition. Life's been raking and a farming and a fishing, and holding on is a man's ambition on Fireplace Road. She said he better turn, but he went straight on Fireplace Road. Burned out like a rocket in his 88 on Fireplace Road. Where the people up street were so impressed with the spray and the splatter and all the rest. But who do you think cleaned up that mess on Fireplace Road? Yeah, the poets and the painters, they come from away on Fireplace Road to live for cheap on Gardiner's Bay on Fireplace Road, where the money's tight and the bills come due every couple of years, sell an acre or two. When times get hard, it's just what you do on Fireplace Road. And when the sun comes up on a brand new day, and you see them boats out on Gardiner's Bay, what you see is a part of a long tradition. Life's been rigging and a farming and a fishing, and holding on is a man's ambition on Fireplace Road. Sid Miller got a real nice spot on Fireplace Road. From the field to the water is a straight, clean shot on Fireplace Road. It's a paradise of sea and sand, and all them bubs will lend you a hand. See, you're never too far from the promised land on Fireplace Road. And when the sun comes up on a brand new day, and you see them boats out on Gardiner's Bay, what you see is a part of a long tradition. Life's spent ripping and a farmer never fishing, and holding on is a man's ambition on Fireplace Road. Out 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 on Fireplace Road.
With the help of their new friends in Springs, Rod and Pamela could now confidently expect a launch in the summer of 1970. Of course, every moonshot has its skeptics, those who doubt the chances of success, who doubt the motivations, who even call into question the purpose. Plenty of Bonnickers had to be skeptical of the free life, but then it wasn't their habit to speak up unless called upon. They had enough of their own cares and concerns to spend too much time worrying about some foolishness with a balloon. Had some old bayman been called upon to offer an opinion, what would he have said?
Gravity works its will. Everything goes downhill. It keeps going faster until it's vanished forever. And happiness doesn't last long. In the blink of an eye, it's gone. So we desperately try to hang on to life's fleeting pleasure. And we make all our plans in vain. We look for the sun in the rain, as all of us circle the drain together. I once had a woman so fair, we loved in the soft summer air. I thought she would always be there and love me forever. But what I thought was love was a tease. She cut me off at the knees. She left with the first autumn breeze, with a change in the weather. But what cause have I to complain? We all get our share of the pain, as all of us circle the drain together. Take a good look all around. Hopes go up just to come down. Then they shatter all over the ground, no trace whatsoever. And the sand washes out with the tide, despite every trick that's been tried. No one has ever yet died and hung on to their treasure. So why should you go against the grain? Cut the cake and pour the champagne, as all of us circle the drain together.
The Free Life was on track for an August 1970 launch when one more last-minute nightmare almost scuttled the voyage. Jim Koontz, the licensed balloonist who had agreed to pilot the trip, had a change of heart and unceremoniously quit. Rod had no backup plan in place, and if he failed to find a replacement for Koontz within days, the launch would have to be postponed until the summer of '71, an untenable delay for an effort that had already consumed more time and money than Rod had ever imagined it would. Salvation came in the form of respected British balloonist Malcolm Brighton, who had been among the first to repopularize sport ballooning in England. Among other ventures, Malcolm's company had designed and flown the balloon seen in the 1968 children's film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh, you pretty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, we love you, and our pretty chitty bang bang.
As a professional daredevil with 2 young children, Malcolm was perhaps accustomed to saying goodbye to his children, not knowing if he would ever see them again.
Be good for your mother, be good to your brother, be brave, girl, don't you cry. And don't forget to turn your head up high when your dad comes floating by. A kiss for your little head, snug inside your bed, close your sleeping eyes. When I get home, I'll have a big surprise from the world beyond the skies, and I'll play with you. It's all I want to do. We'll roll around on the soft, soft ground, and I'll play with you. A whistle upon the air, you will find me there. Listen for the tune, and when you see my shadow playing on the moon, you know I will be home soon, and I'll play with you. It's all I want to do. We'll roll around on the soft, soft ground, and I'll play with you. Yes, I'll play with you.
In desperate need of a pilot, Rod cold called Malcolm in mid-August. Yes, Malcolm had heard about the free life. Yes, he was very interested. Yes, he would be on the next flight from Heathrow to JFK. And upon arrival, he pronounced himself satisfied, more or less, with the design of the balloon and with the overall planning. Yes, he agreed to a September launch. Another miracle had happened. The dream was still alive.
There'll be a harvest moon tonight, tonight, bright like a red balloon tonight. And on the far horizon, all night a watch he'll keep and guard you while you sleep tonight. Just tonight. The sky will make your bed tonight, tonight. Cloud pillows for your head tonight, tonight. And when the sun is fading, he'll spread a gentle glow and rock you to and fro tonight, just tonight. You'll rise, a million stars shining in your eyes tonight. The stars will paint your dreams tonight, tonight. In golds and reds and greens tonight, tonight. And when the dawn is breaking, you'll fly into the sun. A whole new world begun tonight, just tonight.
Daybreak on September 20th, 1970, saw the inflated free life looming over George Sid Miller's pasture. The day dawned clear and bright, but with no wind. However, NYU told the adventurers what they wanted to hear. Wait a few hours, and the wind will pick up and blow your way. The crowd that had gathered, expecting an early launch, was asked to disperse and return at noon. It was a large crowd for Springs, New York. Around 1,000 men, women, and children. Pam's father was there, holding court with reporters and cameras. Rod's mother was there, urging her son to dress more warmly for the trip. The famous abstract expressionist and Springs resident Willem de Kooning was among those holding the ropes to keep the free life from taking off prematurely. A series of trial balloons released at noon showed that the wind was now cooperating. The hour had come. When there are 1,000 people waiting expectantly, including scores of volunteers waiting to see the success of their efforts, the pressure tends to have a galvanizing effect. Things start to happen very quickly. The champagne is popped, the ballast is jettisoned, the ropes are let go. The show must go on.
We spent a lot of money, we spent a lot of time, had a lot of big ideas, we drank a lot of wine, but we still don't know the answer, won't know until we try. Maybe we'll be heroes, or we might die, but the show must go on, the show must go on. The people here to clap and cheer, tomorrow they'll be gone. So the show must go on, the show must go on. You dry your tears and hide your fears, but the show must go on. We were going nowhere, so it seemed. Even foolish plan made from sand, just a crazy dream. Then something changed. direction. The wind blew our way. Now it's in the air, so say your prayer. Today is the day. And the show must go on. The show must go on. The future's here, the skies are clear. What a sight to smile. The show must go on. The show must go on. The show must go on. We made it here after all these years, and the show must go on. All our furniture's been sold. Let's see the rubber hit the road. People waiting for the future to unfold. The show must go on. The show must go on. No one likes a quitter. No one likes to wait. Old chronicles will tell you, even man's one. So it's ever on and upward. We cannot lose our pride. And no one wants to see us, baby, reach the other side. The show must go on. The show must go on. The wind's okay, it blows our way. Ain't a word we'll wait. The show must go on. The show must go on. The show must go on. Show them all that we got balls. The show must go on. Well, 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 the show must go on. Yeah, the show must go on. Well, the show must go on. Like an air floating free between the heavens and the sea. We are cast away upon the Milky Way. This is real. Like an air flying high between the water and the sky. Way down below, they cannot know how it feels to soar above the earth and hear its song. After waiting for this moment for so long, so long. Like an air we just glide, the wind will take us for a ride. Where the air is thick and the earth will spin, you will see. Like an air moving fast, the gravity at last. Now we are Goodbye. Goodbye. We're meant to travel light, light like a bird in flight, and rise from these cold, dark streets to the sky so bright. We're up and away, my friend. Our fate is upon the wind, and it's too late to turn back now. Too late to turn back now. Wouldn't even know how. It's too late to turn back now. You always look above for wisdom and for love. You read in the moon and the stars all the secrets of the world, and I wonder why. The answers are in the sky, but it's too late to turn back now. Too late to turn back now. Wouldn't even know how. It's too late to turn back now. Trust in me and opened your eyes to see. Only by letting go can we be free. And freedom's for those who dare to walk upon the air. And it's too late to turn back now. Too late to turn back now. Wouldn't even know how. It's too late to turn back now.
Only a few things are known for certain as to what happened next for Rod, Pam, and Malcolm. For the next 24 hours, Malcolm was in radio contact, reporting position and receiving weather updates. We know that the Free Life encountered a serious storm about 100 miles east of Nova Scotia. We know that not a trace was ever found, even after weeks of frantic searching. Among the many unanswered questions, there is one that stands out the most. Why? We know that Rod was desperate for a victory after a string of failures. We know that Pam believed in the project and couldn't bear the thought of being left at home while Rod was in danger. We know that Malcolm saw his chance to reach the pinnacle of the ballooning world, but somehow these obvious answers don't seem to justify the enormous risk that Rod, Pam, and Malcolm took. As a possible better explanation, we might dismiss the free life as another folly of its time, a seat-of-the-pants boondoggle that left too much to chance. Maybe it partook of too much of the youthquake optimism that had powered the underplanned and badly disorganized Woodstock Festival the previous summer, an event that was only saved from epic disaster by sheer dumb luck. Maybe by 1970 that luck had run out. We'll never know for certain what happened to Rod, Pam, and Malcolm at the end. And most will never understand why they did what they did. To take off into the unknown seems like a terrifying choice to make, a choice that most of us would make only when there are no other options. Most confine their ambitions to those which have little chance of ending in death. But some rare people follow their obsessions to the very end, deadly though that ending may turn out, whether out of stubbornness or in the hope of immortality. This is how to remember Rod, Pam, and Malcolm. They followed a dream into a storm because it was too late to turn back.
Sands in the hourglass starting to fall, holes in the fabric, cracks in the wall. The sands of the ocean will cover us all. The wheel is in motion, the spins on the ball. Did you ask for deliverance? Did you even ask why? You're just a distraction, a speck in the eye of a storm that keeps turning, like a coin that was tossed, coming down through the sky. Heads or tails, you've lost. And oh, did you count upon the sun to see you through to the end? And oh, as he left you all alone, like a fair weather friend. Did you pray for a loophole, for a bend in the rules, from a God who looks out for all the drunks and the fools? Why would he ignore you when he hears you cry? Earth Mother who bore you, sit and watch as you die. And oh, did you count upon the sun to see you through to the end? And you all alone, like a fair weather friend. Sometimes destruction seems certain. Confusion is all around you. Sometimes it seems you can't find no peace, whatever you do. There's always a blue sky above you, above all this fear and alarm. Flying over the storm, where you belong. Where the storm, it looked angry, and it only grew more. We were lashed by the wind and the rain, 100 miles from shore. But tell my mother, don't worry, your child won't come to no harm, 'cause we're flying over the storm. Yes, we are. We're flying over the storm. We're flying over the storm. We're on our way home, where it's always safe and warm. We're flying over the storm, where we belong. I see you land in the distance, with the garden so green. Won't be too long till we get there, so sweet